All right, Doom 2016. Same thing. I played it a couple months ago. I didn't play it when it came out. It's like, oh, it's overhyped. It's not that good. And I played it, and it's just like, wow, this game is amazing. Because when I first played it, I just feel like, oh, it's like this, it's like that, it's not that fun, it's pretty boring. And then like I got in the mood and I just played it. It's like it's fast paced, and I don't know, it feels right. It feels something like Doom 3 or Doom 64. Like it feels like a combination of that, but having a bit modern for its time for the 2016. It's like, oh, the guns feel right. He feels it just if the movement, the shooting the guns, it feels easy, and I guess the power ups, the how, like yeah, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty nice, and the introduction with the enemies, like yeah, it just somewhat in the revamp or a fresh look of the classic enemy. And some enemies, like oh, you have to use the shotgun or if not the grenade or some machine gun or rifle and stuff like that, and you could have certain attachments on the guns. Like oh, this is pretty cool. The guns, the enemies, and then it's like oh, you get ammo if you do this. You get health, or you get certain rage. Like oh, it helps out a lot. And it's just like oh, this is great. The only issue I have is where I hate to say it, it's just like I'm one of those guys like, oh, I'm playing it, and then in the early stages, you're in this facility and there's lava all around the ground. I fell down. It's like, okay, how do I get out? And it's like, oh, I died, and I'm trying to remember because it's been like I think like 2 months, where like, oh, I died and I had to start from the very beginning, or like I don't think there was checkpoint, and it's like, damn, this sucks, man. I have to start over again. But it's just like the classic Doom where it's just like you have one try, you die, you do it again. And it feels like there's no boundaries, like, oh, you just be careful, do this. The air dash, it's just, it was, I don't know, it felt perfect. It felt great. It felt fantastic for what it is. And beating the bosses, they're not that difficult if you just like, oh, just use this gun, where you have to face this rock golem, and after you beat him, you face him twice. You get two rock golems, and it's just like, oh, I kept dying and dying. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I just used the machine gun that has the attachment for the rocket launchers, and I killed him like that. I was like, oh, this is easy. It's just that you just need the right gun or just like the right accessory for it, and then you just blast through it. And the story, though, believe it or not, I was interested in the story and the voice acting and in the music. It felt great. It felt perfect. Like it's fantastic. I have no really complaints about it besides the final boss, where it's like this one of the scientists who transforms into a demon, where she looks like a crab lady or crab monster. And I won't lie to you, I died a lot. Until like oh, the grenade or the certain attachment and the BNG or BFG or something like that. And yeah, it took a while, and I figured it out. It's like, oh, this is easy, and it just I never got bored. I enjoy it. It's like, yeah, this is great. The story, I'm trying to remember. It's like you're in a tomb, you get resurrected or you get awoken because the scientists are trying to use demonic energy, because of course people don't have the resources or the energy to make it like oh everlasting, since we're in the future, space travel, and they're trying to harness the demonic energy so for humans can use it. But since they're trying to harness it, they're awakening the demons and open the gates of hell, and they're coming through, and they're killing everybody, or I want to say contaminating, like kind of like Dead Space, where it makes the humans change into demons. And then you're trying to stop the power source, or just cut it off and just close the gates of hell, or just close the portal for this one. And it's just like, oh, this is great. The guy who's helping you along or giving monologue or dialogue or giving explanation is this scientist who's in a robot. If it's not the logs, I think there's audio recordings. Unless I'm getting confused with Doom Eternal, but the audio recordings are pretty nice. It's just the game was perfect. It was perfect. It's just like, this is a great game. And I don't want to spoil. I don't know spoilers, even though the game's almost 10 years old, and it's just like, this game looks great and it's fun. It's fantastic. I collect some of the Funky Pucks. I think I got all of them besides 4. But it's an enjoyable game. It's fantastic. I like how it ended. It ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm gonna be talking about Doom Eternal next, and it's just how the story concluded. Oh yeah, I didn't play online because like I don't really have friends. I'm just a loner who I have nobody to play with. and my internet somewhat sucks. Great.